Hey there, it's your girl, Aline, 27, female, and I've got a wild story to share. Always wanted my stories up on this channel, so here's hoping I make the cut. Now, I've always had this go-getter mindset, Wanted to be the best at everything, and I mean everything. It made me an easy target for the haters, those judgmental folks who can't stand a gal hustling and achieving her dreams. But you know what? I didn't give a darn. I was out here getting things done, making sure my life was comfy and stress-free. At 24, I did the unthinkable. I dropped out of college, said adios to that academic life, and decided to start my own business. And what was I making, you ask? Leggings. Yeah, you heard it right. Leggings. Now, everyone and their grandma thought I was bat crazy for ditching college to make leggings. Aline, are you out of your mind, they'd say. But you know what? I had a vision, and I was determined to make it big, even if nobody else could see it. Fast forward a couple of years to when I'm 26, and guess what? My man, Jack, 30 male, who I'd been dating for several years at that point, proposes. Now, at first, I was tempted to drop a hard no, because I was knee-deep in my leggings empire. But love won, and I said yes, because, well, I wanted to build a family and a dang business with the guy. Now, I didn't think getting hitched to my man Jack would throw a wrench in my grand plans, but boy, was I wrong. The leggings empire I was building didn't exactly take a nosedive. I mean, how could it, with me running the game? But it sure as heck wasn't soaring the heights I wanted. And you want to know why? Enter Gail, 60, female, and Jennifer, 30, female. The big bad bosses of the family, often referred to as scary grandma and scary auntie, for their iron-fisted rule over family matters. Now, I ain't heartless or stupid. I understood why Gail ruled with an iron fist. I mean, raising twins on her own after Jack's sorry excuse for her father abandoned ship must have been really rough on her. And that tough-as-nails parenting style of hers, yeah, it rubbed off on Jennifer, too. They ran the show with a heavy hand because of their poor coping mechanisms. I was studying psychology before I dropped out, so I know a thing or two about this stuff. Surprisingly, Jack wasn't a mirror image of his mother and sister. The dude wasn't a raging B-word like the other two, but hey, I wasn't about to question it. Sometimes you just roll with the punches and be grateful. As the wedding preparations kicked into gear, I got a front row seat to the control freak show that was Jennifer and Gail. I knew it was bad, but this was the first time I had to constantly witness it, and it was a lot. Now, like I said, I get it. Jennifer unmarried and with a heartbreak tale of her own, and Gail still dealing with the aftermath of her deadbeat ex. I get it. Life's thrown them some curveballs. So being the good Christian woman I was raised to be, I decided to put my pride aside and let them essentially enjoy the wedding experience they never truly got to have. I thought that they could help me with my choices, but I guess that's the part where I messed up. Hey, Gail, Jennifer, what do you think about this beige? I was thinking T13 or T17. What do you think? Beige is such an awful color. Why would you want it for your wedding? Oh, I agree, it's ugly. You need something that's gonna pop. I wanted beige because it was my mother's favorite color. Since she can't be here, I wanted to incorporate her into my wedding. Oh, well, I still think it's ugly. R.I.P. though. Jennifer, don't be so rude. I suppose she knows what she's doing. It is her day after all, even if we think the color is trashy. Trashy? They would make rude comments like this all the time, and it was slowly getting on my nerves. When I realized that they were acting a bit too comfy with my attempts to include them, it was too late. Even when I made it clear that I no longer wanted or needed their input, they made it their mission to change things according to what they wanted. Despite it being my wedding, I found myself bending over backwards to accommodate their every wish. I mean, I love Jack. But damn, planning a wedding with the scary duo breathing down your neck wasn't a walk in the park. So the cake's gonna be red velvet? Red velvet? What the heck? Have you lost your mind, Jack? What's the problem now, guys? Red velvet isn't classy at all. Mom's right. Why not go for a classic like vanilla with buttercream frosting? Jack and I love red velvet. It was the first cake we shared together on our first date. But I don't like red velvet. That's all right. You don't have to eat it. Jack, that was so rude. No, Jennifer, it's all right. He does have a point. It isn't even our day. We were only making suggestions. And I highly recommend the vanilla. Thanks for the input, guys, but like I've said, we've got it covered from here. Every time Jack and I put our feet down, telling them to respect our wedding wishes, it was like fireworks. Jennifer and Gail would throw a hissy fit that could compete with a toddler's tantrum. They deliberately messed things up, printing the wrong junk on our invites and feeding the wedding planner the wrong info. It was like we were dealing with a pair of rebellious teenagers and their excuses. It was an honest mistake. Yeah, we wouldn't have messed up if you'd gone with what we'd wanted. We put up with their fussiness because, frankly, we were used to it. But you all, there comes a point where even the most patient and kind souls say, enough is enough. And that breaking point, it was when Jennifer and Gail had the audacity to tell me to slow down my leggings sale. Could you believe it? They claimed it would take away from focusing on the wedding and building our family. Now, I may be Texan, but I ain't buying that horse manure. I told them to take a hike and kept focusing on my sales. But oh boy, that's when things went from bad to downright crazy. My leggings website suddenly and mysteriously got flooded with spam and hate from different accounts, saying the nastiest things about my business. You can say a lot of crap about me. You could even spit in my face, but when it comes to my business, I promise you cannot talk about my business and the things I work hard in. I take pride in my work, and nobody can fault me for my quality. Now here's the kicker. Jennifer and Gail seemed a little too happy about it. Yeah, you heard that right. Their faces practically lit up like a Christmas tree when I told them about the decline in sales. I don't understand why this would happen. Who would do such an awful thing? Honestly, maybe this is a good thing. Why would you say that? She doesn't mean anything by it. Yeah, I just mean that this can be seen as a good thing because you now have time for the wedding. But I don't want my business to go under. I don't think that's going to happen. You're just going to take a small break, that's all. Something about their lack of concern set off alarm bells in my head. Call it intuition, call it instinct, but I started getting suspicious. Did they have something to do with the whole mess? It was a thought that slithered in my mind and I couldn't shake it off. But, and it's a big but, I didn't want to bring it up to Jack. They were his blood, after all, and I didn't want to drop a bomb that could potentially detonate our relationship. So I bit my tongue and focused on getting my business back on track. Fast forward to the wedding, and boy, it was a ride. Despite the crap Jennifer and Gail pulled, Jack and I managed to have a good day filled with love and joy. Jennifer and Gail behaved themselves for the most part, often terrorizing the teens and kids within the family because of how rowdy they were acting, leaving Jack and I alone, thank God. We were hopeful about the future, a future we were building together. I thought that the second-hand bridezillas would take a chill pill after all was said and done, but once again, I was wrong. A couple of months into wedded bliss, and Jennifer and Gail made it their mission to check up on us constantly. I mean, we should have just invited them to the honeymoon with the way they were acting. It was sick. They would always nitpick at everything, saying how they would do things differently, and it was getting on my nerves. Now, skip ahead a bit more and their shenanigans didn't stop. I was getting more and more pissed by the day, and it felt like I was in some polyamorous relationship instead of being with the one I actually married. And to make matters worse, he wouldn't even intervene or tell his family to buzz off. I was the one always expressing my discomfort, and then I would be the one having to call Jennifer and Gail hours later, apologizing for being so rude to them. I was done, and I decided that I talked to my dear old husband about everything, so I finally spilled the beans to Jack about my suspicions regarding Jennifer and Gail having a hand in the downfall of my business before the wedding. Let me tell you, Jack wasn't pleased. We got into an argument that shook the foundation of our relationship, and we had just gotten married. "What the hell are you saying, Aline?" "Look, even you have to admit that this is crazy. How could the hate come out of completely nowhere?" "I should be flattered that you'd think they'd be smart enough to do that. But my mom doesn't even know how to use Google, and Jennifer has better things to do. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But this isn't coming from nowhere, and you know it. Could you blame me?" "I know you have your suspicions, but this is taking things too far, babe." "Maybe I wouldn't have suspicions if you helped me. You just watch your mother and sister come and mess around with our place. This is our home, Jack. You're supposed to lead. You're supposed to be in control of this." "I am leading." "Oh, yeah? Then why is it that I'm the only one standing up for us? For our home, for our lifestyle, for our everything. You know how they are. Talking to them is like talking to a brick wall. I gave up years ago." "Look, I get it, but you're the only one who can get through to them. They'll listen to you." "Aline, just drop it, okay? I'm sick of arguing about this crap." After Jack and I had that argument, our relationship went sour, like milk left out in the sun for too long. I tried everything to patch things up, apologizing a dozen times, and even said I was in the wrong for accusing his mom and sister of messing with my business and asking for things to go back to normal. But Jack? He was giving me the cold shoulder like I killed his puppy. Then, one day, I put my foot down, told him to grow up or sign the divorce papers, 'cause I wasn't about to put up with this stupid silent treatment nonsense. It was like talking to a brick wall until Jack looked scared, like really scared. Turns out he had a reason for acting all distant. He dropped the bomb on me. He got the boot at work due to some budget cuts, and get this, he didn't even bother telling me. "What? When did this happen?" "Last month." "And exactly when were you planning on telling me?" "Soon." "Unbelievable. Are you kidding me right now?" I was furious. I asked why the heck he didn't come to me with that info, and Jack's excuse? Brace yourself. He thought we were still fighting, and he didn't feel like talking to me. Well, that set me off. I told him I'd been over the fight ages ago and even tried to reconcile, and he knew it, but he was the one playing hard to get. "And what about rent? How are we going to cover it next month?" "Babe, don't worry. You can cover me in the meantime, just until I get back on my feet, and I'll pay you back." Ugh, I can't believe this crap. I'm not going to lie, paying rent on my own for the foreseeable future pissed me off. This was not part of the plan, and Jack, let me tell you, his attitude did not sit well with me. I was downright turned off by the whole family dynamic at that point. I started regretting marrying into this toxic circus. My mama, bless her soul, was probably shaking her head with worry and pity from up there, thinking, "Aline, I taught you better than this." But you know what? I'm not one to back down. I had to make this work. I owed it to myself, my mama, and heck, even Jack. So I decided to be the bigger person and extend an olive branch. One fine evening, I invited Jennifer and Gail to dinner. A little treat, you know, a fresh start in our strained relationships, hoping that we can just move on from all this drama. But no surprise here, they weren't exactly the picture of receptiveness. Instead, they went on a criticism spree, tearing apart everything, from the food to the decor to the very walls of our house. I see you've decided to use beige in the decor again. How many times do I have to tell you how ugly it is? And how many times do I have to tell you that that was my mama's favorite color? And even if it wasn't, why can't I have beige in my home? Aline, no need to get your panties all twisted up. Gosh, have some class. Jack, are you going to say anything? The food is good, babe. Seriously? Actually, that's a lie. I think it's a bit dry. And bland, like cafeteria food. Now that, my dear Reddit fam, pushed me to the edge. I snapped, and I mean full-blown Texas tornado snapping, yelling at everyone at the table like a mama bear protecting her cubs. It was a showdown, and let me tell you, it was a long time coming. Enough! I'm sick of all of you. Why do you treat me like this? What did I ever do to you? Why do you gotta nag at every little thing I do? Aline, how dare you? Shut up, Gail. I'm sick of that mouth. I was yelling my frustrations, trying to make my voice heard, but it was like trying to outshoot a tornado. 3 against 1, and I could see the storm brewing. Jennifer, Gail, and even Jack chimed in, telling me I was being dramatic. Gaslit? Oh, you bet. I felt like I was drowning in the sea of disbelief and frustration, but hold on to your hats, 'cause it gets even wilder. Gail, in all her wisdom, suggested that she and Jennifer should move into our home because, I quote, Aline was clearly insane. Excuse me? What? Was I in an episode of Punk'd? I couldn't believe my ears. And you know what made it worse? When Jennifer and Gail turned to Jack, asking him what he thought about them moving in, Jack, to my shock and horror, agreed. The man I married, the one who was supposed to have my back even against his crazy-ass family, was nodding along like this was the best idea since sliced bread. Well, let me tell you, that was the last straw. I stormed upstairs, locked Jack out of the bedroom, and made him sleep on the couch that night. I wanted to sleep as fast as possible so that I could wake up from that nightmare. The morning after I locked Jack out, I woke up to the sound of chaos downstairs. Movers were shifting furniture, and Jennifer and Gail were rearranging the whole darn house like it was an episode of House Hunters. I marched downstairs ready to unleash another round of fury. I was about to show them how we do it in Texas, but Gail shut me down real quick. It's like she was prepared for all of this. She tells me to shut up and accept that this is their home now. Excuse me? Jack and I busted our asses to get this place, and I had been paying rent for my own for the past 12 months. And now, all of a sudden, it's some weird episode of home invasion? 3 gruesome weeks crawled by, and I swear to God it felt like forever. I was walking on eggshells trying to avoid these intruders in my own home. Jack and I, we were sleeping in separate rooms. The couch became his new bed, and he even bought an air mattress because Gail and Jennifer claimed the guest room as their own. By the end of that 3rd week, I was at my wit's end. I needed to talk to Jack, lay it all out on the table, and tell him I was fed up. But before I could, Gail and Jennifer approached me, evil smirks plastered on their faces like the Joker. What do you want? Is that any way to treat your family? You two are far from family with the way you've been treating me. Enough with the drama. We're here to tell you something important. We're kicking you out of the house. Excuse me? You heard my mom, Aline. Get out of here. We don't need you anymore. You're such a buzzkill. Your mood is upsetting the feng shui of this house. I'll feng shui the both of you if you don't get the heck out of my house. What the hell? We've already talked to Jack, and he's on board. Oh, is he now? Like it was his cue, Jack, looking as sheepish as a dog caught in the trash, stepped out of the kitchen hearing everything that went down. I grilled him on whether this madness was true, that they wanted to kick me out of my own house. Jack mumbled like a kid who got caught with his hand in the cookie jar, gave some feeble excuses, which I can't even be bothered to tell you all here, because it was all BS. At that moment, I thought Jack was a complete idiot. After all, I was the one paying the rent. How was he going to manage without me? And that's when it clicked. He wasn't going to manage without me. I realized at that moment that Jack hadn't told his mom and sister about losing his job. That's what Jennifer meant when she said they didn't need me anymore. Maybe they thought Jack was able to handle the finances on his own. Little did they know. But why would he go along with this stupid plan of kicking me out? Surely he didn't think I'd continue paying. I didn't know what he was thinking, blindly obeying his idiot mother and sister like that. But he was going to be in for a doozy. "Hello? Are you even listening?" She's too stunned to speak. How pathetic. I kept quiet and started quietly packing some things of mine, and oh boy, the smug comments and laughter from Jennifer and Gail were as irritating as a mosquito in a Texas summer. But I bit my tongue, you all. Kept my mouth shut, because revenge is a dish served best cold. Before walking out that front door, I dropped a bomb on them. I reminded Jennifer and Gail about the rent, which was $7,500 a month. They scoffed, saying Jack would cover it. But here's where the mic drop moment happened. I revealed that Jack had been fired a couple of months ago, couldn't pay rent, and it was yours truly covering the bills. The looks on their faces, priceless. What do you mean? Jack, what the hell is she talking about? Answer us, is this true? Yes, it's true, okay? I lost my job. But since you're all so comfortable with me leaving, I'm sure that means that you have the means to pay for this place. Jennifer and Gail were now begging me to stay, a complete 180 from their snarky and nasty attitudes from earlier, claiming they had no clue I was not only the breadwinner but the sole earner. Jennifer even said she admired me for putting up with her stupid brother, but I just looked at them, shook my head, and called them pathetic. At that moment I declared I was done with this circus called marriage, and said I would send some divorce papers flying into Jack's email. As I made my exit, Jennifer begged me to stay, and Gail went full-on yelling mode at Jack, demanding to know why he lied about having all that money. I'm guessing he lied about having money for some reason. Maybe that's when the women got the crazy idea to kick me out, since they thought they had it made in the shade now. Idiots, all of them. The whole scene was embarrassing, to be honest. I couldn't believe I had stooped this low. But revenge tasted sweeter than a sweet tea. True to my word, I left, and I didn't pay the rent that was due soon. Jennifer, Gail, and Jack blew up my phone for the next couple of days, begging me to come back and pay rent. At least for that month only, and then they'd figure out the rest. Could you imagine the nerve? All I said was, "Tell Jack to sign the divorce papers, 'cause I want nothing to do with you all." Since they couldn't pay the rent, they got kicked out of the house and left stranded and homeless for a while. As for what they're up to now, I have no clue, and honestly, I don't care. But one thing's for sure, I'll always remember the look of horror on Jennifer and Gail's faces when they realized they got played by me. Remember, folks, karma is only a B if you are.